Yeah.
Out there and flying blind.
They just,
With Lana too, and
Even they're scared of themselves. I know.
yeah, they actually,
Yeah.
George Stephanopoulos was in town out at Russ Komlowski's barn is their ground zero.
he was, yeah, he was here.
Cause we had an event there, church event there on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and they had been there on Thursday.
Okay.
Yep, we're good.
Yeah.
Hello. I can hear
Yeah, I can hear
myself.
myself.
Little garden.
And I heard the voice. A voice. I am now. It is 1 o'clock. Welcome to the Garden City City Commission meeting on Tuesday, August 3rd. It's a regularly scheduled meeting. Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor.
It is my turn to do the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us, and thank you for the recent moisture and cooler temperatures that you have provided. Please watch over us as we go through our meeting today to provide us wisdom to make positive decisions to move our community forward. Please help and protect those who are providing us the peace in our community, as well as those who are protecting our freedom not only in our nation, but also around the globe. In this we pray, amen.
Amen.
Next on the item is approval of minutes. Any corrections to the minutes that we have? None being, they'll be approved as presented. Item 5 is public comment. This is a time where the public can come forward and present any items to the commission that is not on the agenda. We give you 5 minutes, and please, when you come forward, state your name for the record. All right, item number 6. And we've added actually 6A, which is a proclamation, onto the agenda, and we'll just move the original 6A down to 6B, if that's okay.
That's okay with me. I don't
I-
have any, you're gonna have
Okay,
to lead this one.
I'll just
if you
lead this
can.
one. It's a bench item. It's a proclamation on 8/11 Day, and that is for August 11th, for 8/11 Day. Do I hear a motion to approve the proclamation?
I move to approve the proclamation as presented.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Euler. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Dick. Any discussion on that item? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. We do have some representatives from Black Hills Energy with us, if they want to come forward. Do you want to say anything, or? Yes, please come forward.
My name is Red Guro. I'm the gas operations manager here for Black Hills Energy. And on behalf of our 117,000 customers that we serve, we sincerely thank you for highlighting the critical importance of safe digging. 8/11 Day is an important observation. As we all know, we take our infrastructure very seriously, and we want to create a culture in Kansas that makes sure we use the tools that we have at our disposal. As Kansans, we are kind of a roll up your sleeves and get the job done kind of people. But sometimes that pioneer spirit makes us forget about some of the important things and steps. Anytime a shovel goes in the ground, a fence post is installed, a sprinkler system is repaired, or a construction project occurs, 811 definitely needs to be called 3 days before. Otherwise, there's a risk you could face fines, damage to infrastructure, or unfortunately worse. Our people live and are engaged in the community. We're neighbors, volunteers, soccer coaches, basketball coaches, and I can tell you we want nothing more than the well-being of our community and our town that we call home. And in conclusion, we sincerely thank you for highlighting the importance of the service in our community.
Is there an event on the 11th, or just we
Actually,
can?
we will be doing, we give away coolers to different construction companies that excavate, that we go out, we talk to them, we have pamphlets that we bring them, educate them. We try to educate the public very much on that day. We'll be handing out flyers flyers, doing things like that, to let them understand that 811 is a free service, and it can be costly if you don't use that free service, can cause major problems. We've had, issues with customers being severely hurt because they've hit things. As you guys well know, people don't always take the time to do those little steps to say, you know what, I'm gonna dig a hole here, but what's there? Because we can't see underground. And that's why we utilize 811 to make sure that any projects we do, whether it's large scale or, planting a tree, that we are safe in what we're doing.
Sounds good. Well, I'll just read the proclamation. The proclamation reads, whereas thousands of times each year, the underground infrastructure in Kansas is damaged by those who fail to contact 811 to have underground lines located prior to digging, resulting in service interruption, environmental damage, and threats to public safety. And whereas in 2005, the Federal Communications Commission designated 811 to provide contractors and homeowners with a simple number to contact utility operators to request the location of underground lines at the intended dig site. And whereas Kansas 811 provides one point of contact available by phone and online to help reduce damages to underground facilities, thereby reducing the loss of service to the public and the loss of time and money to contractors, utilities, and taxpayers. And whereas Black Hills Energy maintains its commitment to educate the public about safe digging practices and encourage compliance with local and state safe digging rules and regulations. And whereas damage prevention is shared responsibility. By using safe digging practices, city contractors and homeowners can save money, time, and help keep Kansas infrastructure safe and connected. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Roy Cessna, Mayor of the City of Garden City, Kansas, do hereby proclaim August 11th, 2021 as 811 Day in Garden City and encourage everyone to call 811 before they dig. It's safe, it's free, and it's the law. Signed and sealed the 3rd day of August 2021, Roy Cessna, Mayor. All right, so remember the 11th is 811 Day. Thank you for coming. Do we want to get a picture with them? Okay. All right, now to
The new item 6B. Yeah, the governing body's asked to consider and approve a request from City Parks and Recreation Director Aaron Stewart to allow under Code Section 6-35 and 6-133 possession, consumption, and sale of cereal malt beverages of alcoholic liquor during the Siege 5K obstacle course on Saturday, August 14th, 2021 at 3502 North Campus Drive.
Hey, Aaron.
Afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. This is the 5th year of this event. We've come before you all 5 years for this permission. So same setup as before in front of Crazy House, and we'll have it fenced off and located up there in the top right corner of the map. Obviously, we're throwing some salsa in this year. We have a salsa competition, so I encourage all the commissioners to come out and partake in one or the other competition or both if you'd like. So it should be a fun event. We continue to add to this, and we hope to see our participation go up this year. I think it's a nice segue from the Dig Safe because we've been doing some digging. Actually, we dug last year. We left it. So we've got some trenches. We give free mud facials with every race entry. So, I would encourage the commissioners to put a team in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
We'll discuss that amongst ourselves.
Yeah, so I'm curious about how I know that you're asking for volunteers and also for people to participate. I'm wondering about how that's going.
Both are good. The little knack with registrations, they do tend to wait till kind of the last 2 weeks to register.
You're here in our
I
community?
know.
I can't believe you. I don't believe it.
But we do anticipate a good turnout.
Nice.
And volunteers-wise, we've gotten several, including people that volunteer frequently, like JROTC always comes out. The recruiting station likes to come out and help out. So, and obviously, this race is in support of our military and what they do, and our Vets for Veterans is kind of a beneficiary of this.
So if we want to form a team, how do we do that? How do we go about doing that?
4 people. If you do the
The mud thing, I will do.
see
no mud
Commissioner
stuff.
Euler's already pointing to
Yeah,
Already did the
yeah,
mud
I
stuff.
see that.
Once is
Four
enough.
4 members, but if you're doing what's not the competition, you're doing the challenge one, you can have more than that. So all 5 of you can come out and enjoy the event. The challenge one also allows you to skip obstacles. The competition is
Not on
you're
purpose,
racing
yeah.
for medals.
Mhm.
So you're truly in it to win it, and there is no skipping. But as a team, you get to help each other over an obstacle. So.
Okay.
So the
Sounds good.
salsa challenge, do we bring our own chips or do we bring our shoes?
That's to be determined. I don't know. No, we'll have
Some
them
milk.
provided. I know we've got at least 3 entries there. So I just thought that was a fun addition this year. was,
Yeah,
Sounds good.
to me, salsa is like, is it dancing?
Oh,
Salsa
yeah.
dancing? Or is
Yeah,
it?
salsa dancing, yeah.
Well, depending on how spicy it is. You
Okay.
may be dancing.
True.
Okay, I see this is going downhill
Yes,
quickly.
That's true.
Entertain a motion on this item.
I'll move to approve the request as submitted.
Commissioner Dick made the motion for approval. Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Euler. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you and good luck.
Commissioners, the report of the city manager is a list of staff reports. We'd be happy to answer questions if you've got any on there. Then there aren't any. Item 8, meetings of note. I do want to call your attention to us hosting on the 26th of this month, the Southwest Kansas Coalition. So that meeting will take place here at the City Administrative Center across the hall. We'll be joined by commissioners and staff from the City of Dodge City and the City of Liberal. I think we're ready for the appropriation ordinance. If that's approved, it would be appropriation ordinance number 2536-2021A.
I'll make a motion to approve appropriation ordinance number 2536-2021A. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
There is a second by Commissioner Unruh. Any other discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. 10A.
Item 10A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an environmental nuisance resolution. If approved, it would be resolution number 2883-2021. This would remove a violation at 411 Washington Street. Trent?
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Trent Maxwell, Director of Neighborhood and Development Services. Come before you today for this environmental nuisance violation for 411 Washington Street. We do have some photos. There are scattered items throughout the yard. This yard, we've had multiple complaints and visits. We have never been able to make verbal contact with them. We do have door tags that our code enforcement officer places on the door, but to no discussion. The history of it, they have been notified January 14th, May 4th, and July 13th this year. What you see there has left multiple times and has come back. And so I think it's an ongoing issue that we may even be back in the future again with it. We're here to seek to be able to give them the 10 days and if not, mitigate or abate the nuisance. Alternatives, you have number 1, governing body may approve the attached resolution or may not approve the attached resolution for alternatives 2. We recommend alternative 1, approval of the resolution. A fiscal note, the abatement costs incurred by the city shall be charged against the lots or parcels of ground on which the environmental nuisance is located.
Questions? Entertain a motion on resolution number 2883-2021.
I move that we approve resolution number 2883-2021.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Unruh. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dick. Any discussion on that item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed.
Item 10B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an environmental nuisance resolution for 2315 Tonio. If approved, it would be resolution number 2884-2021. Trent?
All right. So our second resolution for why we're here, again, this is a nuisance violation for 2315 Tonio Avenue. This has brushes and concrete scattered throughout the yard. We've made multiple attempts to contact the residents. Letters have been sent July 1st and July 13th of this year. We have had no communication with them. The alternatives that staff has recommended is 1, to approve the attached resolution is what we recommend, or you may not approve the attached resolution. We plan to, upon approval, same thing, 10 days, and then mitigate or abate the nuisance. The fiscal note is the same. If the city is charged to mitigate or abate it, that fee will be charged to the parcel or property location.
Any questions? Entertain a motion on resolution 2884-2021.
I move to approve resolution number 2884-2021.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Euler. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Ortiz. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 11A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve expenses for the evidence and municipal court building.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. The first part of this memo I included in here because it's been a while since we've talked about the municipal court and evidence building, and so in order to remind you, in case you haven't been by of late, that we are still working on that building. And so kind of set out for you what we budgeted for the project, kind of what we set aside for potential contingencies. We didn't know if we would have any or what that would look like. And then kind of a breakdown of what we're looking at here. I want to go through each one of these. I'm sure you had a chance to look at all of the attachments, but because they are numerous, and because each one of these has specific meaning to one side or the other, I just want to run through them real quickly. The first one, PR number 1, we ran into an issue where we found some interior windows that would have been between different evidence rooms, and so once we realized that they were there, we wanted to be able to close those up and block those in, just as we have done on all the exterior windows. We don't want anyone to be able to access any of the evidence facility, whether it be large vehicles or small. So that's pretty straightforward. PR, and on that one, that is one that had to be done when it came up. So we did approve that one to be done for the $2,733.06. The second one is an issue that we ran into as we started to repair some capping. If you drive over by the Telegram building, you'll see the metal that runs across the front of the building and then also around all of the brick at the top. As we started to remove that, because part of staff's project was to have somebody replace that, we found that there was a ton of brick damage. And so in order for us to put the capping back over that, it was important that we repair some of those brick areas before we then went back and painted them and added the new cap. So that is for that item. PR number 3, in the room in which we are calling the vehicle storage area, there were 2 walls that met each other right next to where the old printing press used to be, and then there was a loft above that area. When everything was taken out, we found that there was a large structural post right in the middle of where all of the vehicles are going to park, which doesn't complicate our parking situation. It doesn't impede any of the parking spaces, but what it does do is it causes us some concern as vehicles are pulling in and backing out. If they were to hit that pole, it could potentially damage the structural integrity of the building. And so the architect and construction crew proposed that we put actual blocks around that post so that if someone were to back out, they hit the concrete instead of hitting the post. Something we can repair rather than structural damage to the building. So that is where that came from. PR number 4, there is a little area in between the small evidence and the large evidence area where we intend to roll carts as we are taking stuff from one area to the next area or out to the vehicle storage area. It appeared to be fairly flat when we were going through the project process. However, now that everything's been opened up and it is open to each other, it is quite bumpy through there. And so this particular item takes all of that concrete out and redoes it so that it's a really nice, smooth, flat surface from one area to the next. That way when we have those little rolly carts for evidence text, they can roll right through that area. PR number 5 is in the large storage area. So one of the things we were doing when we were going through this bidding process was also looking for areas where we could save money. Things that we didn't need to do or things that didn't have to be done. And in the very back where we were going to store large evidence, we could see a brick wall. And we could see a portion of that, and as we started to peel back, so when we did the bidding process, we decided we're just going to paint that wall. No big deal. When they started to peel that back, the contractors found that where different areas of brick met each other, there were holes. So we had a large opening, and then we had brick, and then we had a large opening, and then brick. And then at the very end, we had some very slick, large white subway tile. So lots of things going on in this area, and not for aesthetic reasons, but for the purpose of not being able to get a good paint and seal over that area where we're going to put shelving and stuff. They proposed that we go ahead and put the metal studs up and go ahead and cover that like a normal wall, and then it would still be painted. So that is that item. PR number 6 is if you are familiar with the area to the south of this building, that is just a little tiny alleyway between this building and the next building right next door. It's all fenced off, and that's going to be the employee entrance for evidence technicians. It will be secured. There will be a gate at the end of it, but we do need some lighting through that area. We've noticed that the street lighting on either side of that is not enough for the evidence techs to actually be able to see when they're at that back door. Someone could get in there and be waiting for them, and so to protect our employees, we think having several lights throughout that area would be important. I'm going to come back to PR number 7 because it relates to CO number 1, so I'm going to skip over that one. PR number 8 is adding 26 feet of base cabinets in the what we call the tag and bag area. This is where the police officers actually process their evidence. This was something that the police department felt was very important for the project. They felt like they didn't have enough storage for all of the items in which they need for evidence purposes, and they want it all right together. So when officers are coming in the middle of the night, or they're coming in with a lot of different evidence items, they can set it out on the counter and pull all of the stuff out of the cabinets right from underneath it, tag and bag, and have it ready to go. And so although that seems like a relatively expensive line item, when you think of 26 feet of cabinet, that's a pretty good amount of space. PR number 9 shows 2 items. It shows an expense and also a credit for us. The evidence side, Casey Milligan was looking with her staff at how they were going to meet with the public in the little open area at the front of the evidence facility. And so they weren't totally satisfied with it being that they thought that it would be the safest possible solution to meet with people, and so they asked to kind of rethink how that entryway was done. What you have here is credit back for what we were going to do, and then an expense for what we're going to do now, or what they would propose to do, which this allows for them to just have one open area with bulletproof glass and a little area where they can slide items into a lockbox, lock it, and then the person on the other side can open it and take their evidence out. This prevents evidence techs from having to actually go out and meet face-to-face with someone. Not that there's any necessary danger to that, but it doesn't allow them any access into evidence or any access to the evidence person who has keys to the evidence facility. So it just protects the facility overall, and you can see that the net difference of that is just a little over $3,000. PR number 10, there is an area as we open up the walls where there's a beam, brick on both sides up to the beam, and then it's just empty above the beam. And so all they're going to do is go back in there and fill in that area with brick. And you can see that the cost for that isn't that high, but it will be an area that we will need to repair before we close all that up. ASI number 4 was additional asbestos removal. If you recall, staff initially ran into asbestos when we first got into this building, and we did have a company out of Wichita come and remove some asbestos tile. Well, as they got in and they removed all the carpet and all the walls, they did find additional asbestos in the glue And so they had to have that removed. And that was something that we did have to approve on the spot because the project would have had to come to a stop in order to, they wouldn't be able to do anything else. So that has been done and has been removed. And Dick Construction was actually able to do that. We did not have to call in a separate company. And then we have ASI number 5. In the last set of plans that we had, there was a sewer line that ran under the gun and drug vaults. Once we got underneath that area, we found that, in fact, there was no sewer line. And so that is going to have to be added to our plans. And so that's what ASI number 5 includes. ASI number 6 is something that we found as we started to remove the walls around the windows on the front of the building. If you go into that building today, you can actually turn around and look at the windows on the front where the municipal court sitting area will be, or lobby will be. And if you look just above the windows, you can see daylight outside. And so we need to go back and seal those out, add insulation, and then completely close them up so that we don't have dirt and debris coming into the building once it's all finished. Obviously, that's a relatively small cost, but it's important that we have it there. And then also included in that not to exceed 500 is a roof item, which is that we're getting some water on the roof in one area and it's collecting. And so we brought out D.B. Douglas, and this was their idea of how to fix that. So those two items, the openings above the windows and the roof issue, those together will not exceed $500. And so that is ASI number 6. The last one on here I want to talk about together with PR number 7. So CO number 1 is an item that we received from Dick Construction on price escalation. If you all recall, we bid this project back in January. We initially, we had our first meeting. We were initially going to select one contractor, and we had some issues. That actually went through 2 meetings. And so we actually went about 30 days past when we were initially going to accept this bid. And around that same period of time, steel, glass, and something else, it's slipping my mind. They had some price increases and escalations that were fairly significant in relation to those subcontractors because they were smaller subcontractors. And so they submitted those to Dick Construction. Dick Construction did absorb several of the even smaller ones than this into the bid project, but these were ones that they felt like should come forward and that we should pay those additional price escalations. So we had good conversations with Dick Construction about those price escalations, and Michael Selzer really came to the table and said, let me go see where I can find a credit. Where can I find something that will offset this cost that you have so that it doesn't increase the price of the project? And so that's where PR number 7 comes in, and you'll see that we're getting a $17,019 credit, which more than covers the CO number 1. What we did is we basically subbed out the panels on the judge's bench from an out-of-state contractor to a contractor out of Dodge. And the contractor out of Dodge, Kitchen Sink, if you've heard of them, they were able to provide the exact same product for significantly cheaper. And we have selected that product and are extremely happy with it. So I think that was a good solution on their part, and it also alleviated and allowed them to continue to use these subcontractors. So there is one error in the CO number 1. There is a contractor fee on Roth glass that will be removed. It's approximately $270. And Dick Construction will fix that before they bill us, and then we'll correct that. So Commissioner Ortiz pointed that out to me early this morning, and so I had to make some quick calls but didn't have time to change that before our meeting.
So I have a question on PR number 9. So
Okay.
you talked about, so who is allowed to check in and out evidence? Are we talking about other police officers or attorneys or?
No, so what happens is the evidence techs will be typically inside the evidence facility on the back side, and then if a citizen is coming to pick up a gun, or obviously they can't pick up drugs, we wouldn't allow them to do that. But if they were coming to pick up a stolen backpack, or I don't think Courtney's going to let them pick up drugs, but you know, the items that we typically would return to someone, and that is a lot of times guns or stolen property, or what we have had in the past, which is found property. Those things that people are coming to pick up and we're giving to them. Sometimes it's super simple and it's really small and we can drop it through a tray below the bulletproof glass window, just like we would in municipal court for money and credit cards and stuff like that. But sometimes it's large. Sometimes it's a rifle or something like that. And so then next to it, if you can envision, there would be almost like on one side of that locker, there would be a lock for the citizen to pull their their item out, with a block in the middle that we can unlock and lock from our side, and we put the item in and allow them to get that. So Casey and her staff felt as though this was a great solution, because right now what they do is they're in the police building. So if they go out to meet with someone and there was an incident, we have, approximately 10 at all times police officers with guns that can be there in a matter of seconds. Going over to the Telegram building, that's not going to be the case. It's going to be the evidence technicians and the municipal court employees, and the response time could be a little bit greater. And so they just want to take every precaution they can to make sure that they're protecting that facility and what we have in it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the explanation and also the attention to the safety of our evidence text, so that's great.
Any other questions on any of these?
I do. I got just one question, because
Sure.
I don't feel like the change order number 1 should be actually included on a markup for the 10% from the contractor.
Okay.
I just feel like it's not a change order request. I do agree it is a price increase, but in order for them to get that, I don't feel they should put a 10% on top of what nobody foresees of an event happening. So that's my only struggle with this I do agree with all the other change orders from the city or from any other places that have been brought up and identified on site. It just, for me, I think that the total amount for a change order should be all the PR number 1s through 10 and then the ASIs, but not the price escalation on materials. So the change order number 1 to me doesn't sound like a change order, I guess.
So I can elaborate on that a little bit. It is called change order number 1. However, when you jump into this, what you would consider a change order would be something that, in this case, we're listing as PRs, is something that the city asked for, something that was necessary in order for the city to do to keep the project moving, like the steel post or something of that nature. The change order as listed here is not anything that the city asked for. It is something that over the course from the time we bid this project until the time that contract was signed, that these escalations, whether it was due to COVID or whether it was due to the other issues going on with building materials across the country, there were price increases on the subs who bid these projects. The subs bid the projects in January and found out around the beginning of March that these prices had gone up. And that was prior to us agreeing to the contract, but Dick Construction was still required to have their bid in during that time. So it's one of those things that, at the end of the day, I think that's why Dick Construction worked so hard to find the credit that they did on this project, because they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to go out and seek Kitchens Inc. to find that credit, that $17,000 credit. And I think that's why they went after it, because they realized we didn't ask for change order number 1. It wasn't something that we anticipated. It wasn't something that they anticipated. But because of all of the ongoing situations, it was something that happened.
So looking at change order number 1, so you're saying that, the contractor fee of the 10% additional, that's something that
Yes.
Is that something you're saying that you don't agree with? Is that what you're saying? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, because a change order, if you read a definition of a change order, it's anything requested by the owner of a change, or that has been found that should probably be brought up by a contractor that says, hey, we really need to fix this. But these are just price increases.
Well, maybe it's the wrong type of verbiage that they put onto that, so.
You're saying,
I understand where city staff's coming from. It's just, they might have, for your understanding, and I get it, it's just the wrong verbiage that they put on that item.
Yeah, for me, it's like all of the PR 1s through 6, those are legitimate change orders, because those are something that we have asked to change, or they found something that probably needed to be addressed. But the price increase isn't. That's something that no one could predict, but it just, for me, that was no legwork on anybody's. It shouldn't be like a material increase or labor increase because of that contract, that 10% contractor fee shouldn't apply. It's something that, I agree they should be reimbursed. Anybody that, your suppliers' materials have increased, so yeah, we should probably work together as a city and contractor and architect and whoever else, is that let's get these materials ordered, paid for, but let's
So you're
just slide it
saying-
across the table
You're
and not
saying
make a
less
profit
the
on top.
contractor fee of 10%, so you're saying just the basic subtotal, less the
Yes,
well, less than
exactly.
270, I was gonna write that down, I can't remember.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so he would be, Manny's number would be the 15,294.55 instead of the 16,992.24.
Correct.
Would you still have to have the
But-
bond 1%?
You do have to add the bond?
I'm asking.
Don't think
I'm
so.
I'm trying to understand.
Right.
What, if,
Okay, so
why
then
don't
the
you have
bond,
him come up
Come
and
on up.
answer instead of doing it
Yeah.
from the fourth row?
So that everybody can hear what you're saying.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
City Council, members of staff. Yes, the bond is associated with the overall cost of the contract, and so that needs to be in there.
Okay. And you are?
Oh, sorry.
Just for
I'm
public
Jared
record?
Hoffman, project architect, GMC and Architects.
Thank you.
Garden City.
But so, Jared, so the contractor fee doesn't have to be in there, or is that something that's just being added, or?
The
I mean, if
contract-
we traded you like the dollars at the increase, if we were just wanting to make sure to cover the increase, plus now you've explained that the bond of the 1% has to be there,
Yes,
would it be the 15,294.55 plus the
So-
1%?
Yeah, plus the 160.
Yeah,
it'd be
plus
the
168.
15,294.55 plus the 1% for the bond.
Jennifer, the 270 you mentioned
Yeah, I
that
just
would
am
be
trying to figure out.
removed, is that removed from this change order, or is that found in some other item?
It's found in one of the line items above that. It's found specifically in the
Glazing.
Roth glass, which is glazing, under the $3,118.35. It's under that section. So there would be an amount removed from that, and I've already clarified that with Dick Construction this morning, so that will be removed. And so then that subtotal would change by that amount, and then you would add in the bond 1%, and then we would have a total number.
And we don't know the Roth glazing exact amount at this point in time.
We do not.
So if it were the will of the commission to adjust change order number 1, it would be for those things identified under the subtotal, less the correction to the Roth glass amount, plus a 1% bond fee.
Correct.
yes. And so the 1% bond would reflect that new number from 15,294. Yeah, less than
270.
Yeah.
Plus the 270, whatever that is, for
Yes.
the actual cost.
So to get it straight in my mind, the reason that you're bringing up the contractor fee is this is an additional fee that's associated with a change order specifically? Or if this original price would have been right in the first place, that contractor fee would have already been included in the price? It already would have been included in the price?
Yeah, so overall, if this had been the cost of the product, this is what we would have paid the contractor. So what he's saying, essentially what I gather that he's saying here, is because these price increases went up, that this is the contractor's fee in relation to them, because prior to this, we would have been paying less for these items, and his contractor fee would have been lower because of that.
Is this a
Right.
unique situation where prices go up or change, or
This
is this
is
something that
completely
happens all the time? or-
This is completely unique. I think unique as in the last year,
Okay.
relative to all of the things that, if you've built anything that you've been dealing with. But also not unique in the sense that we don't know when this is gonna change, right? I mean, I think
Yeah,
That's good.
none of us can predict the future,
it's probably the new normal.
so.
I would entertain a motion on this item with the corrections and updates that we,
Which
Talked about.
corrections and updates?
on the,
Removing
The
the
removing the
10% of the
10%, and then-
contractor surcharge.
and then
And then changing the
taking the
1%.
1%, and then the Roth glass, which we're not for sure about at this point, right?
Correct. The Roth glass one will be removed because it's a
Okay.
subcontractor fee that shouldn't have been included, so that will be removed.
So could we
Um,
treat that one separately, or do we have to do them all in one? Because I would motion that we approve PR number 1 through number 10 and ASI number 4 through number 6, and then we could treat that one separately, or do you want me to do all in one?
I guess that's a motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Unruh, second by Commissioner Dick. Does everybody understand the motion
Yes.
and the second? All in favor on that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed.
I can make
In
an
a-
attempt, or you can.
No, I mean, you probably don't want me to.
Okay.
Just,
So I would move that we approve the change order number 1 at the rate of, let me get that back up here.
I'm trying to find it too.
I'm sorry, at the, and see, I wish we had an actual total, because this is
Yeah,
really hard.
it's in
approving.
there.
I can tell you if you give me,
Okay,
if you just
if
give
you
me a
would give
couple
me-
of minutes, I can
Okay.
give you a calculation.
I would appreciate that, and then that
Yep.
way we'll.
It's in their letter. They broke it out.
Yeah, I have to go back and, just a second.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's what I said.
I think it was the
and
first
I'm
one.
not- My phone's off.
Does anybody have a page number on it? This was
This
gigantic.
No,
next
no,
one
no.
up, I
It's-
think.
Yeah, it's huge.
No, one more.
That's not right. Oh, yeah,
Well-
Yeah.
wait, and then take that out of this,
Yeah.
and then add in this.
Yeah, by the time we find it, it's.
And then plus this. Yes, correct. Times 1.01, right? No, 1.1.
There.
I got it.
You got it?
Page 91 in your packet.
Yeah, it was huge.
Interesting.
14. This one minus 406. 55 minus 406.
Yeah, that's why,
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't, I'm not gonna
This is
do-
why math competitions might be useful.
That's right.
Okay, $15,037.43.
I move they approve change order number 1 at the rate of $15,037.43.
There's been a motion for the change order for approval of the $15,037.43 by Commissioner Unruh. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Euler. Any discussion on that item? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you for your help.
Sorry about that.
Sorry for
That's
the math,
okay.
the math challenge, so I'm just glad it was you guys and not me.
Item 12A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the financial advisory services engagement agreement pertaining to the issuance of the general obligation bond Series A 2021 and taxable general obligation bond Series B 2021 with Stifel Nicholas and Company, Inc. The services of a financial advisor, or FA, are needed to perform the scope of work required to issue general obligation bonds for the city. With the projected issuance of Series A 2021 tax exempt bonds and Series B 2021 taxable bonds, the city identified Stifel Nicholas and Company for financial advisor services. Stifel Nicholas and Company was the city's FA for the 2020 issuance and refinancing. The staff specifically assigned to the city of Garden City from Stifel Nicholas is the staff formerly with George K. Baum and Company, the city's longtime FA. Agreed upon procedures are detailed out for the FA and the issuer of the city in the Financial Advisory Services Agreement. Regulatory disclosures, compensation, and authority to direct financial advisor are also detailed in the attached agreement. Your alternatives are to approve the financial services agreement with Stifel Nicholas and Company and allow the finance director to sign the agreement, or do not approve the agreement. We recommend approval.
Entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make the motion to approve the financial service agreement with Stifel and Nicholas and Company, and the finance director to sign the agreement.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Dick. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed.
Thank you. Item 12B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the installation of signage on Jenny Barker Road from Shulman Avenue to Kansas Highway 156, prohibiting through truck traffic. Mike?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. We're requesting consideration and approval to install signage notifying drivers that through truck traffic is prohibited on Jenny Barker Road from the intersection of Shulman Avenue north to Kansas Highway 156. The installation area comprises the newly paved project that was just completed this summer. The Code of Ordinances for the City of Garden City, Kansas, Section 86-5, establishes the commercial truck routes within the city limits. It has designated those routes within the narrative of the ordinance There's a map showing that the routes that established by this ordinance is attached with that memo. You probably saw that. Therefore, we're seeking permission to coordinate this signage effort with Finney County, designating a similar corridor along Shulman Avenue East from Jenny Barker to Oding Place. Staff feels that coordinating this effort with Finney County will reduce confusion and provide uniform signage for that whole area of where the truck routes, where the trucks can go and where they can't go. Existing signage prohibiting truck traffic on the remaining portions of Jenny Barker and Shulman Avenue within the city limits is in place and not will be affected by this request. If you approve this, we'll continue to work with Finney County and we'll install all the signs at the same time. So the request is to approve us, give us permission to install the signage prohibiting through truck traffic on Jenny Barker Road from the intersection of Shulman Avenue north to Kansas Highway 156, and direct the Public Works Director to coordinate the installation of signage with the Finney County Public Works Department. Or deny the request and direct staff to something else. Staff recommends alternative number 1, and that would be to install the signs as approved in that alternative. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, so Mike, I have questions. I know before Jenny Barker, the project was upgraded with all the sales tax initiative dollars. So I'm curious, did trucks previously, because they used to previously use that, the Jenny Barker before it was paved and upgraded and all of that. Is that correct?
Well,
Or
and when, if Matt will pull up that map there, the south side from Shulman Avenue south to Highway, what am I saying, Fulton Street, I guess. That's always been a non-truck route. Trucks used to come from east of Jenny Barker Road on Shulman and then turn and go north before we rebuilt that section of Jenny Barker Road. Excuse me, sorry about that. Now we just want to coordinate with the county so that right now if trucks come down Shulman east of Jenny Barker, there's no place for them to go if you approve this truck route. So that's why we want to work with the county, and they'll be forced to stay east and use farmland road north and south, which is part of their truck route stuff. So I hope that answers your question, Commissioner. No?
I was gonna say, so this just sounds like there's, trucks are trying to find a bypass around the city, and
right, yeah.
we just don't have an effective bypass anymore.
Yeah, and since we opened that up, for traffic, there's been a lot of truck traffic on that road already, so this'll, if you
So
approve it, we'll work with the county and it'll stop it.
So you're saying that they're gonna force them to go up Farmland Road to Shulman and then go west, or keep going north?
No, if there's truck traffic coming east on farmland or on Shulman, they'll be forced to turn on Farmland Road or
Okay.
some other county road.
Okay,
They won't, we want to warn them before they get to
So
this
that
new
they-
intersection that they can't go
right, okay.
north, west, or south.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's confusing now, especially since the bridge at Main Street is out, and so there are not a lot of ways into the city. I mean, that, you know, that,
Right.
and then, so I just, I mean, the timing of this, I agree, I don't want our new, I mean, you don't want that ruined. I know it increases, you know, the hazards and the safety issues, I think, with trucks, you know, going down there, but.
We could certainly set a date if you prefer as to when this would go into effect, but our intent would be if you approve it, as soon as we get the signs available and coordinate with the county, the way they would be installed.
And the highways are
Yeah.
open,
Right.
and if you're coming from the east, you're only on, I mean, other than traffic that originates from somewhere in the industrial area, which
Right.
that's not through truck traffic. But
That's a good point.
if you're coming from the east, you're coming from US 50, 83 south is open, 83 north
Right.
is open. The only reason you're on another road is to avoid, is to avoid the highway. So there's adequate entry from the east into
Okay.
the city.
Yeah, I just was curious about that.
Entertain a motion for approval for the request.
I move that we approve the request to install signage prohibiting through truck traffic on Jenny Barker Road from the intersection of Shulman Avenue north to Kansas Highway 156, and direct the Public Works Director to coordinate the installation of signage with the Finney County Public Works Department.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Unruh. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Euler. Any discussion on that item? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Item 12C, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an addendum to the existing master service agreement with Revere Health Care Services to add mental wellness services. At the July 6, 2021 City Commission pre-meeting, a presentation was made on the American Rescue Plan Act and the ways in which these funds can be used. The city has received the first half of that funding, a little over $2 million, and can now begin dispersing those funds in accordance with the grant requirements. Carmen A. DiPaolo, Revere Health Care Services Chairman, has been working with city staff to provide a mental wellness pilot program to consider as an additional service delivered through the city's Grow Well Clinic. This addendum, if approved, would provide counseling services over 3 half-days per week and will cover the period of September 1, 2021 through August 31, 2022. The services will be provided at the Grow Well Clinic and will be televisit appointments. One of the approved uses of ARPA is supporting the public health response. Mental wellness would be considered a service to address behavioral health and would be an approved use of the funds. The cost for adding this service to the Grow Well Clinic is $54,000, and this would be an upfront lump sum payment. Alternatives are to approve the addendum to the master service agreement with Revere Healthcare Services to add mental wellness services, or to not approve the addendum, and we recommend approval.
Any questions? Entertain a motion on this item.
I move to approve the addendum to the master service agreement with Revere Healthcare Services to add mental wellness services.
Commissioner Euler made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Dick. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed.
I do have a question, and I'm sorry I didn't get that in quicker, Mayor. So I know that the services are they separate services, Chief, for the police department, or will you be able to take advantage of these? Because I know mental health was something that's very important, especially with the things that you guys are dealing with. Are you going to be able to take advantage of these services, or are there dollars that you need separately for your officers and your staff?
So we're looking to set aside additional funds for our officers, but we'll also be able, at least the ones that are on the Grow Well program, will be able to take advantage of this.
Okay. Yeah, because I knew that was a concern and something that we were willing to make sure that we do address, so. Thank you.
Item 12D, the governing body is asked to consider and approve change order number 8 of the Jenny Barker Road and East Side Drainage Project to reduce retainage and establish a warranty period commencement.
Good afternoon again. This proposed change order is to allow the reduction of retention withheld from the contractor once the project is functionally complete. But we wanted to wait till the window. The only thing left to do out there is finish doing the seeding. Everything else has been completed. We've done the walkthrough. We've inspected everything. Everything else is done but this. So I'll go ahead and read through this so that everybody out there can understand what we're doing. We're requesting the construction contract for the project provides that the city withhold 5% retention until final payment, 5% retention of the total bid. Per the contract, final payment is made after the project has been inspected by the city and the engineer, and all punch list items identified in this inspection are completed. Thus, no additional physical work needs to be performed, and all closeout paperwork has been received. The purpose of retaining funds is to provide the city leverage to ensure that all final cleanup and punch list work has been performed and final paperwork is completed. The retained funds also provide a buffer should the contractor refuse to finish his work to pay for the additional costs to a third party to perform such work if necessary for the city to have to file a claim on that contractor's bond. While it is anticipated that all other work will be complete by the time consideration of this item, which I just mentioned to you, it's all been completed, we've inspected it, and it's all been done according to the specifications of the areas of the project, which still need to be seeded with permanent grass seed, and it must be seeded after November 15th. Temporary seeding has been planted in all areas. The contractor also waters that on a regular basis to get that temporary seeding going. There's been some minor dirt cleanup at one of the seeding areas, and that will be performed at the time of the seeding due to currently wet conditions at the bottom of that channel where we cross the channel on the north end. The estimated amount remaining of the work is estimated to be between $12,000 to $18,000, and that's really depending upon how much mulch is going to be required. With this outstanding work not yet performed or paid, final payment cannot be made until the seeding is completed in November. As a result, the 5% of their total bid, which amounts to $366,267, is being withheld to continue and will continue to be withheld until that time the contract is completed. Due to the waiting period of the seating precluding the project from moving to final payment, as it otherwise would be able to, the contractor has requested the city to release that additional retainage. This project is unique for the city in its scope, scale, and extensive use of KDOT specifications. KDOT does not withhold retainage from its contractors, and most city projects are small enough in area that they do not trigger the requirements for planting within certain seasons. As such, the contractor's retentions provisions were not drafted with the intention of the city sitting on these funds for extended period of time. The contractor and the engineer proposed reducing the trainage to 0.5% of the contract, which would amount to $36,626.71. This amount would be withheld from the amount paid for other work which has already been performed. The outstanding seating will not be paid until it's completed. Thus, the city will still have 3 to 4 times the value of the seating funds to ensure the contractor completes the seating and the project closes out like it's supposed to. The city also holds performance and payment bonds to fall back on to ensure that the seating is performed and to protect against any claims by any subcontractors or supplies. Because the waiting period is uncommon on most city projects, staff does not feel we're setting a precedence as being set by reducing the retention under normal conditions. Due to this waiting period, it is also proposed that the warranty period start at completion and acceptance of all work except for the seating, as it will not a standard practice, nor was staff or engineers' intent for the warranty period to start months after the project was functionally complete and in service. So with all that said, we're requesting you consider to approve the change order in its entirety, approve the revision and warranty commencement date portion of the change order only, or do not approve the change order at all, and staff recommends alternative 1, and that would be to reduce the change order amount from the $366,267 to $36,626.71. And I'm happy to answer any questions if I could.
Entertain a motion on this item.
I move to approve changes in order in its entirety.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Dick. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Unruh. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 12E, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a bid for the 2nd Street and Clint Lightner Stadium parking lot improvements construction project. Mike?
Yep, thank you. Still here. The Second Street,
Hopefully this one isn't as long.
That's
so
not as quite as
was-
long,
That
so.
was complicated.
the 2nd Street and Clint Lightner Stadium parking lot improvements projects consists of reconstructing 2nd Street between Maple Street and East Riverside Drive to a full-width asphalt street. The project also adds perpendicular parking along the west side of 2nd Street to augment parking for the Clint Lightner Stadium and the garden rapids at the big pool facility. The project will also widen 2nd Street and East River Drive intersection and create a mini roundabout to facilitate U-turns. It also paves the Clint Lightner parking lots with asphalt pavement. The 2nd Street project was identified as a need in the spring of 2021 to complement pool improvements, provide additional parking for the pool, and to improve the severely degraded street and accommodate traffic flows that obviously is proven to be there. The paving of Clint Lightner Field has been a planned improvement since the curb and gutter was put back in 2018. So advertising for the project began on July 13th. We had a bid opening on July 28th, 2021. Bids were received from 2 contractors, American Warrior Construction Incorporated and Lee Construction. American Warrior Construction's bid was $366,870.65. Lee Construction's bid was $454,839. The engineer's estimate was $424,916.50, which made American Warrior Construction's bid 15.8% lower than the engineer's estimate. Staff and city engineers have reviewed the bids, bid surety and subcontractors lists. The contractors have performed successful projects for the city. As such, city engineer and staff feel both bids were responsive and responsible, Included with the package is attached with this memo are their list of subcontractors that they will use. Their preference policy does not apply with both bidders they live here in Phoenix County, and the lowest bid being greater than 5% below the next bid. So project construction, if you would approve this, will begin in late August or early September, and has to be completed by Thanksgiving as long as weather permits. So alternatives would be to accept the low bid from American Warrior Construction in the amount of $366,870, $366,870.65, and authorize the mayor to execute the construction agreement upon receipt of the required bonds and documentation. Or alternative 2 is reject the bids and direct staff to an alternative. Staff recommends alternative 1, and this project will be funded from the general obligation bond GL code. The current fund balance is $1,590,116. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
So I have questions on this. You know, on that side right now, I just lost the name of the company. McGowan still has a lot of that. So is all of that stuff going to be moved before you begin the construction? Because again, I mean, they have heavy machinery coming out of there. Is that going to be done and their work completed before you go ahead and do any of the work there, or?
That's our intention.
Okay.
When we have a pre-construction meeting, McCowan will be included in that meeting to make sure that their equipment, whatever they need to do to move or whatever we need to do to coordinate that, so they're not interfering with the brand new construction we're doing, and we're not interfering with what they got left to do.
Yeah, the road is it's a good way to lose a muffler, so yeah, it needs to be repaired. But I didn't want to see us put a brand new road in and then have, you know, all that equipment driving over this brand new road after we spend all this money repairing something. I think it's a valuable project, so.
Okay.
With that, I move the accept the low bid from American Warrior Construction for $366,870.65 and authorize the mayor to execute the construction agreement upon receipt of the required bonds and documentation.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Henry. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Euler. Any other discussion on this item? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Item 12F, the governing body is asked to consider and approve 2 appointments to the Police Citizens Advisory Board.
Hey, Chief.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. What you have before you is a consideration and request for approval for 2 appointments. One of them to fill our schools representative, and Mr. Marnoni is not here. He's busy getting ready for school. And the second is for our student representative from the high school. And with me today is Kendra Peterson and her parents. So alternatives is appoint both Mr. Marnoni and Ms. Peterson to fill the vacant positions, or do not appoint and recommend that we go out recruiting again. And our recommendation is obviously to appoint these 2.
Entertain a motion on this item.
I move to appoint Alessandro Marnoni and Kendra Peterson to fill the vacant positions on the Police Citizens Advisory Board.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Euler. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Ortiz. Any discussion on this item? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed.
And if you'll allow
Yes.
me a little
Sure.
bit of latitude,
Yes.
get a picture with
Yep.
Ms.
Yes.
Peterson and her family.
Sounds great.
Yep, her parents are pretty impressive. I've met them before, so. And I'm sure she is no exception, so.
Thank you.
We expect Mr. Marnoni to come in and get a picture too, Chief. You know that?
That's right. You can escort him here.
Any other items before the consent agenda?
No other items. I
Okay.
think we're ready for the consent agenda, saving you a ton of time. It's items G1 and 2.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items G1 through G2. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Dick. Any discussion on those items? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That item passed. Commissioner reports. Commissioner Ortiz.
Okay, yeah, just thanks for all of the hard work that everybody's been doing up to this point. I'd like to also congratulate Trent for the new Neighborhood and Development Staff Director. So congratulations on that position. The interviews, I guess, were successful, and we were able to pick up the right candidate for that spot. So thank you for all those who worked through that and got that going smoothly. So also, I'm looking forward to school. My kids have been keeping me up all night, so I'm looking forward to that regular bedtime. So, but yeah, just be aware, school does start on Tuesday this coming week, or next week, but also today is voting for the quarter-cent tax. So if you haven't voted, I'd encourage you to go out and vote for that. We need to continue that tax for a lot of the monies that we use as far as cities that go out to police and fire and zoos and parks and rec and everything. So please go out and vote for that. I did have an opportunity to go on vacation this last week, so it was very relaxing. As you can tell, I did get a little bit darker. So we were out on the beach, but it's good suntan out there on the beach. So I loved it. My family loved it. We had a great time. So Garden City Airport was excellent. Can't say the same for others, but but it was a fun trip, and so we were glad we were able to get out and do some things before school started. So I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Euler.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to Kendra Peterson for her service. I mean, it's such an important thing to be able to volunteer and to be a part of it. So thank you for stepping up and doing that. We really do appreciate that. And also congratulations to Trent on new position. Good luck to you, and we wish you great success in that. And I'm looking forward to the National Night Out tonight. I'll go on a ride along with Garden City's Finest, and so I'm excited to do that and to see all the different neighborhood events going on. And echoing what Commissioner Ortiz said about getting out and voting, regardless of which way you vote, it's important that you get out and exercise your right to vote. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Dick.
First thing I'd like to point out is that that 811 dig that we have is very important. And also I want to send out some appreciation to Black Hills and what a good job that they do. And if you smell gas anytime, if you make sure you call them, but they are really good at getting to it and taking it seriously and doing it. So they do a really good job, and I think sometimes they don't get the appreciation that some of our others get, just because most of their stuff is underground. You don't see them unless you need them, but when you do need them, they do a good job. Thanks to Rochelle for the pre-meeting on the airport. That's exciting to see. And then our numbers, again, are doing really well out of our airport. So great to see the progress on that. And then also I've heard similar stories that our airport is amazing. Some other airports around are not as amazing. And not just local, I mean, we're talking like some major ones. So good job for keeping our local passengers happy with our service that we provide. This kind of gets to be a thing that I say every other week, but it's a good, or every other commission meeting, but it's good as our sales tax numbers are through the roof good this last distribution. So that's really good to see that we continue to be very strong and continue to consolidate our trade area in that way. I wrote down a lot of things because I thought everybody was going to knock out all the things I was going to say. I'd like to thank Mike for taking the time with the Jenny Barker's grass seeding thing. I mean, that's a lot of work to get a thing done to keep contractors happy and do all that stuff. And that's another one of those things, like, why is it good to do business in Garden City? Is because we have the employees that take the time to do a lot of work just to make sure the contractor gets paid in a timely fashion, and still protecting us as a city. So thanks, Mike, and all the staff to get that working. Two things left. If you have not had a chance and you are able to get vaccinated, please consider to do that. Our hospital is up to 9 patients with COVID in it right now. We were at 0 just a month ago. So the amounts of local cases are very high. I don't know if we're getting tested at the same rate, but definitely the people who are in the hospital with COVID are presenting. And so far from the numbers I've seen, nobody who's had an admission to the hospital has been vaccinated. It's all been unvaccinated people. So please, if you have the ability to, and consider that for the safety of our community. And finally, like everybody else, make sure you go out and vote for the Corson tax that we have today. I think, like all the other commissioners say, I would much rather be on the losing side of a vote that everybody came out to be on than the winning side of one that has a very poor turnout. So please get out and vote today, because it's an important matter for our community. So, and that's it. A couple things.
Commissioner Henry.
Okay, well, I don't know if I have that many items, but and I won't be in competition that way. The 811 Dig Safe, for those of us who've learned the hard way, 2 days without electricity in the hottest summer ever, it's a very wise thing to do. It doesn't take much. The call and they're out there very quickly, and I do appreciate Black Hills Energy and really all of the people who work to make that happen. I did want to give just a congratulations to Trent, and also I did talk to someone from Empirical Foods this week, and they were very complimentary of your responsiveness to them and also just the way your staff treats them. And so I just want to say thank you. Anytime we have new employers come, hearing good things about the city and how they're treated is really important to us. So National Night Out is a big deal. We're having a huge, I don't know how huge it is. We're having a block party. Our neighborhood, when we went and visited people, were so excited. Now, I don't know about a dance party. 2 years ago, we had a dance party, not led by me, but by younger people. But we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight, and so I won't be traveling with the police officers or the fire department. I'm gonna be home entertaining. Otherwise, or I've been threatened by my wife. That's where I'm gonna be. So
Practicing salsa dancing?
salsa dancing. Yeah. Hey, and Manny can come and Commissioner Ortiz can come and show us how that works. So.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
I do want to say thank you for getting Garden Rapids back open. It's really important. I mean, it's you don't know how much you miss something until you don't have it. So having it back open, I know that Director Aaron Stewart and Ellie did a really great job of and it's not easy with a staff that's that mobile and also that young and getting everything going again. So I want to say thank you. A lot of people were looking forward to last week, and you gave a really great information on Facebook, and people knew. So it wasn't like they were surprised. And if they were, then you must be living in somewhere that you didn't really read anything. So I do want to mention also, I had several people. I was out at the dog park the other day. I had several people want to say thank you for having the dog park. And so they wanted to make sure I said thank you. Also, there's a lot of stickers just to make sure if there's anything we can do. I know it's a hard place, but when you're pulling stickers out of dogs' paws, guess who else gets stickered also? So anyway, it's a very nice addition. I'm hoping that with that in the future that we'll actually do some improvements and then also see additional dog parks. It has really become something that people have really appreciated about our community. So I did want to say thank you for us just having. They want to make sure I communicated that. Thank you for having that. And with that, we'll see you tonight at the block party. So. Totally.
Okay. Again, I'd like to thank Kendra for her volunteerism. I know when Dr. Watson was here on his 50-city tour around the state, one of the big items and it was really noted, but it's people that volunteer in their community that makes better employees for their employers. So when you go out and volunteer and help in your community, that's one of the actual components in their educational plan is people volunteering and civic duty in your community. So thank you for doing that, especially at the high school level. And you have proud parents too. So again, the election goes till 7 o'clock this evening, so I encourage everyone to go out and vote. It's a very important vote for our community, and I hope everybody's voice can be heard. That's how you make your voice heard in a democracy, is by voting. A National Night Out is tonight, and I know I'm going to be out riding along with our officers and going to different parties, and so I'll be out this evening. School does start on Monday. It's a half-day orientation for kindergarten through 5th grade, 7th grade, 9th, and 10th grade students, as well as students new to the district. It's also when the school zones are activated in the community, so I remind everybody to please slow down in the school zones to 20 miles an hour. Also be mindful of the crossing guards as they're helping our students get across those heavier intersections in our community. Also want to remind everybody that the school buses will be out on Monday as well. So just please be mindful of the school buses picking up our students when they have their red flashers on. Do not pass those school buses, because I know our fine gentleman in blue will be pulling you over, and it is a huge fine. Also, school for the first day of school is, for the first full day of school is Tuesday, August 10th, and we'll be in session all day that day. And yes, like the numbers on the airport and how well that's going in employments, and I agree with Commissioner Dick, our sales tax keeps going up. So just thank everybody for coming and purchasing items in our community, and we're becoming the regional hub of Western Kansas. And on that note, I call this meeting adjourned.